Okay. Demon just got out of can. I gave my bro an advance. Love is just not in my plans. My life is you and your mess.
Hey guys, Jack here and welcome back to another video on my channel. Now you will know from past videos I have done relatable problems that every YouTuber faces. Now today I'm switching it round. It's not going to be every YouTuber faces, it's going to be every designer faces. So as you've noticed by the title, it's called Relatable Problems Every Designer Faces. This may apply to all designers, but for me I've noticed this to mainly apply for like YouTube graphic designers, so people who make banners for people who make social media overlays for people, and things like that. First of all, this week's shout out goes to this person. Make sure you go and check out their channel if you haven't already, and let's get into the relatable problems. The first most relatable problem is actually one that managed to bang a tweet about it, and it was basically when you say on social media or any platform that you're doing free graphic design work, you get loads of customers, you get an inrush of customers who want all your work from you, who want to see all your past designs, you want all the graphic design work done in about 5 seconds and want it all finished and sent off to them. And we all know as designers that's not possible. We can't make a design in 5 seconds and then move on to the next person. Ideally you need to have a break in between designs to refresh your mind and think of new ideas for a new banner. And basically what I'm trying to get at is if you do free design work, you get a load of customers. Now, the actual thing, the problem that we face is that if we then try and charge for customers, or if you kind of charge for customers anyway, those people who wanted the free work off you have backed away and thought, you know what, I'm not paying, I wanted it for free, I want a free service, and you don't get as many customers. You get like 2 or 3 a week rather than like 50, what should I say, like an inrush of customers. So that's the first problem that I think most designers face, is if you charge for work you won't get as many customers as if you didn't charge for work. I know that seems self-explanatory, but it's just something that I know everyone faces, that if you go from free work to paid work, you won't get as many customers. The second thing I feel like every designer faces is impatient customers. Now you get that customer that you'll make the work for, and they'll be like, okay, can you do this, this, this and this, and you'll message back and say, okay, yeah, that'll take me a bit of time, and then give them a date of when it's done, which is what every designer should do. They should always inform their customer when they're going to receive it, or near enough when they're going to receive it. Now sometimes it is the designer's fault and that doesn't go to plan. Maybe the designer's busy in his personal life and he can't make that, but as long as he informs the customer that it isn't going to be done by that time, then that's fine. Obviously I've had a couple of clients in the past where I've told them the dates when it's going to be made, and I haven't either had time to do it because I've been too busy working, or I just haven't had the motivation to make the GFX. But the problem I feel like most designers face is the fact that the customers are impatient, and you'll give them a deadline of when it's going to be made, and you'll either, you know, be making it on that deadline, you'll be like, right, I've got to make it by then, and then they'll message back and say, look, is it done? Is it done yet? How's it doing? Is it done? Have you started my designs? Is it done? And I feel like the more someone asks me to do their designs quicker, the longer I'm going to take, just for the fact that it's just annoying for us, because then we've got to reassure them that it is going to be done on time. We need to reassure them that we have started it, and I feel like it should be left to the designer to just do it up until that day. He or she has given you that deadline for a reason, and you need to stick to that deadline, and you need to know that that banner will be done on time if the designer says it will be. So that's the second thing I feel like most designers face, is the fact that you have a lot of impatient customers. Some clients are fine and you can get around it easily and they're happy and they're like, okay, that date's fine, and then don't message you and you send them the design and it's done, sweet, dusted, and you've done the work. Other customers are not as patient and they want the banner done ASAP, and obviously if you don't have the time to do it by then, they can get annoyed, and that's when I feel like the impatient customer side of them comes out. The next problem I feel like most designers face is the fact that a lot of people tell us to do designs based off other people. One, they can't do that for the pure fact that it is kind of copyright. You can't just then go, okay, I want a banner exactly the same as PewDiePie's. PewDiePie may have that banner copyrighted, he may see the fact that the designer may have it copyrighted, and then you can't make that banner like that. So I feel like for the main reason we can't do it, because it's probably copyright and we don't want to get, you know, it's probably not copyright, but the designer just doesn't want to get into that situation where he or she isn't 100% sure, and then they don't know for sure whether they can make that banner exactly the same. I made a banner recently for a guy called Mitchell Wilson, who's Niall Wilson's cousin, and he wanted it styled like Niall's, but because I knew they were related, I was hoping that Niall wouldn't mind. But if that was someone else, maybe someone like really big, like say someone wanted someone the same as PewDiePie or something, I wouldn't do it for the pure fact that I'm not too sure whether it is copyrighted. And kind of leading into this same thing, that customers also ask you to copy someone's design, and you may not be as good as GFX as that person who made that banner for that person, so you aren't going to be able to do that. I have 3 specific designs that I stick to, and the reason I do that is because I know in myself, in my own opinion, I can do those designs pretty well. If I try and copy someone else's design, it's not going to come out as the best of my ability, and I feel like a lot of other designers are probably the same. So if someone said, hey, I want a banner exactly the same as this one that was made for someone by Robert N Graphics, I know that Robert N is way better than me at GFX, and I'm never going to be able to live up to what he's made in that banner, so I can't make that banner because I know I'm not that good. So I feel like that's another thing that someone faces, is the fact that we can't copy other people's banners. 1, for the pure fact that it could be copyright, and 2, we might not be good enough to actually make that banner to the same style as the person who's made it before. The next problem I feel like most designers face is kind of like 50-50 on the designer and the person who's getting the design. So this is 50-50 because the problem is that a customer will say they are fine with the work once you've sent it to them, and then a couple of days or a couple of hours later they will message you back and say, actually I want this changed, I want this changed. And I feel like it's 50% the designer's fault, because my problem is that I've probably deleted the PSD, the Photoshop file, or the file of the actual graphic design work. And it's 50% the customer's fault because they should have told you outright that they didn't like it. And I feel like that's something I haven't actually faced yet, but I feel like it is something that's coming, because I know that I delete a PSD a lot after I finish making the work. I know it's as simple as you can just make the design again, but if you're happy with how that's made and they only want something changed like really minor to it, then you can't really make the same design twice unless you've saved it. You can never make 2 designs exactly the same, because you have either forgot of what you've used in that design, or it just won't be 100% the same as what you made before. So it's 50% the designer's fault because they would have deleted the PSD and they really shouldn't have, and it's 50% the customer's fault because they should have really told you in the first place that they wanted stuff changed on it. So that's one thing I feel like a lot of designers face. I know a lot of people who I know who do design have faced this problem. I luckily haven't faced this yet, but I feel like I have it coming, so I've been saving a lot of the PSDs I've been making. And the last problem that I'm going to mention for today, I know there's loads more, but I thought I'd just try and cram in 5 today, is the fact that customers will tell you to go off your own knowledge and just with no brief. So a lot of designers will ask the customer what they want in a banner, and the customer will reply and say, look, I want my social medias, I want a picture of me, I want a cool background, I want this colour, that colour, I want this font. That's 100% fine. If a designer says they are fine with that brief and they're 100% fine to go along with it and make that banner in the style that you wanted with the components that you want on it, that's fine. We love that. Designers absolutely love it when you're to the point and you'll tell them what you want on the banner. You can discuss it beforehand and have a great conversation and find out what they want on the banner, so you know in the back of your head exactly how the banner's going to look when you make it, and you know you've got all the key components in there without having to remake it or add stuff at the end. That's brilliant. But I feel like a lot of problems a designer faces is that a customer will message you and either not know a lot about GFX, so not know the potential of what they can have in the banner, or they just won't give you a brief at all and they'll tell you to go off the back of your own mind and with no brief. Now that is not ideal because everyone is different. A designer might like the design of something he's made, but then his customer might be like, actually it's not to my style, I don't really like it. So I feel like if you are going to get GFX off someone, make sure you research beforehand into their work on their portfolio or their page of all their work, so you know the capabilities of what they can do. Either send them a picture of one they've made in the past and say, look, I want it styled like this, or give them some suggestions of what you want on it, like social medias, cool background colors, fonts and stuff. I feel like a lot of people will just go straight in, message a designer and say, look, I want a banner. A designer will then message back and say, yeah, what do you want on it? And someone will message back and say, look, go with your own mind, I'm not really bothered as long as I like it. Now, when someone says that, it's not great, because you can go, well, I'll go off the back of my mind, but how am I going to know whether you're going to like it or not without fully making it, then sending it to you, and then having to remake it again because you don't like it? I know a lot of paid graphic designers will make this banner once, and if you don't like it, they'll make changes to that banner, but they won't go out and redo this banner about 3 or 4 times just because you said you don't like it. So that's why I think personally, if you're looking to get GFX, you definitely need to look in the person's graphic design work beforehand before you actually go in and get that work off them. But that's definitely another problem that a lot of designers face, I know that for sure. But there you go guys, there are a couple of problems that every designer faces. If you are a designer and you find this relatable, then make sure you leave a like. Let me know in the comments how many of these you faced if you are a designer. I know for sure I faced about 4 out of 5. I would say if you're looking into getting GFX work and you happen to be watching this video, then make sure you take the stuff I said on board, because it will really help a designer to actually establish what you want in a banner and the actual key things that you need. Most designers will do everything that I've just said in this in these problems, so like with social medias and stuff, they will definitely do that. If you are new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're getting very close to 4,400 subscribers. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed the video and share the video around with anyone who is either a graphic designer and you know they've definitely faced any of these problems, or share it around with people who are looking into getting GFX and need to know a few tips. And I'll see you next time. Peace.